live stream that you guys can start the meeting.
Thank you very much. All right, I'd ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is behind me. You can see it. Led by Councilwoman Mullen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if everyone could please mute when they're not speaking, that'll make it a little bit easier for clarity purposes. Also, if anyone wishes to speak, there are 3 minutes on any of the public hearings. Go to the town's website, isleofny.gov, and go to the virtual portion and register for the Zoom meeting, and actually click the link and then go to the Zoom meeting and register. And once you're in, if you do wish to speak on a hearing, just raise the little virtual hand so that we know that you wish to speak. And again, just to remind everyone, it's specific to the hearing. There are 5 separate hearings tonight, and you will have 3 minutes. And I think that about covers it. So I would just ask that the clerk, Olga Murray, please read the first public hearing notice, which is CZ 2020-006 M&H Brothers.
PC 5347 M&H Brothers, Inc. Notice is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Islip will hold a public hearing on Thursday, August 13, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom webinar and will be streamed live over the internet on the application of M&H Brothers, Inc. Applicant requests a change of zone from Residence B to General Service T in order to construct a mixed-use building. The environmental impacts will be assessed on this property located in the Brentwood School District on the southeast corner of Brentwood Road and Candlewood Road, known as 0 Brentwood Road, Bay Shore, Town of Islip, Suffolk County, New York. Written Town Board, Town of Islip, Olga Murray, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Olga. I see that Frank Montero, who's representative for the applicant, is here and appears to be ready. So if you would like to begin your brief presentation, we're here to listen.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Okay, I'd like to start my conversation by stating that all the items on the deed covenant restriction, my client fully agrees to all those items. Okay, to start. In order to continue, I have Mr. Joseph Clemens that's going to give you complete details of all these items in this project. Okay, Mr. Clemens.
Yeah. Good evening to the board. My name is Joseph Clemens, a partner within the firm German and Clemens Architecture PC, located at 3275 Veterans Memorial Highway, Suite B11, Ronkonkoma, New York, 11779. I'm speaking to you this evening in regards to the 0.84 acre parcel situated on the southeast corner of Brentwood Road and Candlewood Road, property tax map number 0500 202 04 39, located in Bayshore. This application proposes a change of zone from Residence B zoning to GST or General Service T zoning to allow for the construction of a mixed-use building. General Service T is so named because the T stands for transitional. The intent of the zoning is to allow for limited commercial uses on a lot between commercial uses and residences, similar to the situation we have here. The subject parcel is currently a vacant wooded lot. As indicated, my clients of M&H Brothers, Inc. are requesting to enhance this site with a mixed-use building. Specifically, this proposal is for a 2-story wood frame building with a ground floor area of approximately 3,325 square feet, comprised of commercial office space. The second floor of approximately 3,000 square feet would consist of 2 2-bedroom apartments and 1 1-bedroom apartment. The building would have typical residential finishes, including horizontal siding above a brick or stone base and pitched roofs. The Brentwood Road elevation would more closely resemble that of a residence, while the visible elevation from Candlewood Road would have more of the commercial elements, such as storefront entry systems, which front the provided parking area. The parking has been situated within the rear yard to the greatest extent possible. Adequate number of parking is provided per our proposal as well. However, after discussions with the planning department staff, 5 of the required 22 spaces are proposed as land bank to provide for more green space. The site plan has been strategically designed to efficiently comply with the GST zoning requirements as well as the required Town of Islip land development regulations. The total FAR or floor area ratio proposed is 17.4, well under the allowable 25%. The proposal set forth also complies with the zoning criteria as it relates to area density, width of lot, and required setbacks. The height of the proposed building is approximately 29 feet, less than the allowable 35 foot per residence AAA district requirements. Almost 60% of the site is landscaped, 3 times the 20% requirement, including a 25-foot landscape buffer, which contains a double hedgerow of evergreen arborvitae and trees placed every 20 feet on center, along with a 6-foot high chain link fence and attached stockade to protect the neighbors to both the south and east. To clarify, 18.8% of the landscaping, excluding the buffer, is within the front yard area and therefore complies with land development regulations as well. We made an initial presentation to the planning board back on May 20th of 2020 to explain the intent of the proposed application. Following the public hearing portion, we had received recommendations from traffic safety. The request included stop signs be provided at both Brentwood Road and Candlewood Road exits. It was also requested that Brentwood Road be limited to right turn in and right turn out only, restricting any left-hand roads onto this road. Cooperating with the town's recommendations, my client was in agreement with the request, and as such, we revised the proposed plans accordingly. On June 24th, we revisited the planning board and received recommendation for approval of our application, and therefore the reason we are here before you this evening. As you can see, my client simply wished to establish and maintain a property of which conforms with the Town of Islip requirements, while providing something which contextually fits in with the surrounding area. There are other commercial uses along Candlewood Road, more specifically directly across the street from the subject parcel as an example. The improvements requested will become a benefit to the community and enhance the aesthetic. New street trees and continuous use bushes will be added, which will enhance the look of the site and conform to the Town of Islip standards. This will be a vast improvement from that of the existing wooded lot. I would like to note that the client is in agreement with the deed covenants and restrictions as provided, and original executed documents will be submitted to the planning department for their records. As such, we respectfully request that you recommend this change of zone so that my clients can convert this overgrown wooded site into a pleasant neighbor, and we can continue to enhance the Bay Shore community. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clements. Are there any questions for the applicant at this point? All right, let us hear then from the department. Jessica, if you would give us a brief overview.
Sure. Good evening, Supervisor Carpenter, members of the board. Mr. Clements outlined it pretty well. It's a change of zone from Residence B to General Service T district, which is our transitional district. It does not permit retail. It permits basically office uses, and mixed use would be permitted based on covenants. They are proposing 3 apartments and commercial on the first floor. It is located at an signalized intersection, and traffic safety has reviewed the application. The planning board recommended approval.
Are there any questions for the department? All right, Mary, has anyone signed up to speak on this particular application?
Somebody has signed up to speak. There was somebody who did want to watch, but he clearly said that he did not want to speak on the application.
Very good. Then are there any other questions or comments for the applicant or the department? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Unmute.
Whoever would like to could make the motion. Just unmute yourself, please. Kate?
I'll make that motion.
I make the motion to close the hearing, negative deck.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Cochran and a second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
It is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. Next application is the House of Judah. Madam Clerk, if you would please read the hearing notice.
Yeah, thank you. Notice is hereby given for TC 5348 that the Town Board of the Town of Islip will hold a public hearing on Thursday, August 13th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom webinar and will be streamed live over the internet on the application of the House of Judah. Application requests a change of zone from Plan Development District Office PDD OFF to Plan Development District Retail Service PDD-RS in order to construct a house of worship, community center, and retail stores. Site plan modifications are required as part of this application. The environmental impacts will also be assessed on this vacant land on this property located in the Central Islip School District on vacant land south side of North Research Place and east side of Creative Drive, approximately 1,013 feet west of Carlton Avenue, CR 17, also known as 0 Creative Drive, Central Islip, Town of Islip, Suffolk County, New York. Posted Town Board, Town of Islip, Olga Murray, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Olga. And we have Mr. Germano here. If you're ready to begin your presentation.
Yes, I am. Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board. Guy Germano, 2250 Veterans Memorial Highway, Holbrook, New York, for the applicant. I also have with me in the wings, I guess, are on the virtual wing, Pastor Steve Magnum, and we also have our traffic consultant if necessary, and our engineer also if necessary, and our architect standing by. As indicated in the call, this is a change of zone from a PDD Office, Central Islip Plan Development District, to PDD Retail Service. Property has a little bit of a history. It was originally zoned PDD-RS, Retail Service, together with the rest of the 39-acre shopping center parcel in 1995. In 2005, the property was rezoned to PDD Office at the request of the Urban League. The Urban League was never able to build the offices, and the Bethpage Federal Credit Union foreclosed on the property in 2015. The House of Judah purchased the property from the credit union thereafter. In summary, the property's been vacant and unused for more than 25 years. I'm just I could do a little screen sharing here. Can you let me share the screen?
Have to promote you to a co-host, I think. Is that correct, Tom?
Or Tom,
No,
can you do it?
panelists should be able to, any panelist should be able to share their screen.
Okay, so here we go. I got it. Let me get this up there. Can you see the aerial photograph?
Nope.
Yeah.
No, we cannot.
Boy, that's not good.
I
Do you
have,
not have it in the backup? Guy, isn't it in the backup to the application?
It probably is, yes.
Yeah, it is. I see
All
it.
right, so let's just leave that. Can you see it now? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so this is just an aerial photograph to indicate where the vacant property is. It's been vacant since 1995. The House of Judah is currently located at a church in West Sayville. They've been really good neighbors there for over 12 years, and they've outgrown the facility. And so that's why they wish to purchase this property and build a new church with additional operations as part of the church's mission. So I'm now going to just show you the site plan. Did I get that up here? Okay, this is I have a site plan colored so you can see. This is the site plan for the church. And I'm just going to review with you what we have here. In blue, this is the auditorium, or actually the church. This is the church facility, the worship center with the stage. In red here, we have a catering hall. We have offices in the back, the north here, for the administration of the church. And also we have meeting rooms here for classes and community meetings. We have a 6,000 square foot gymnasium for use by the youth, and 3 small retail stores here, which connect to the shopping area via, you can see the sidewalk here. We have bathrooms here. This is the site, and we have you can see we have our parking here, and we connect to Creative Drive and also to North Research Place. So there's an entrance, there's 2 entrances or 2 exits. The plan has been developed. We've worked with planning for quite some time during the process for the approvals. And so as a result, the building has been shifted over, shifted to the east. We've reduced the size of the building at the last go around. We reduced the size of the building by 511 square feet, reduced the size of the auditorium, worship area, and reduced the catering hall by almost 40, almost 40 seats, 36, almost 40 seats. So in order to increase available parking and decrease the parking requirement. So at this point, this plan was approved by the planning board at their meeting in June. And we're now providing a total of 115 parking spaces with 3 land bank spaces. We have 3 land bank spaces here. So it could be a total of 118 spaces. The auditorium, the church at full capacity is 466 seats. That would require 115 stalls. And so we actually meet that. Just for informational purposes, we had our traffic engineer do a study of the existing utilization at Atlantic Avenue. And rather than 1 stall per every 4 seats, we actually came out with 4.6 persons, for each seat. So 4.6 parking spaces for each seat. So we have less utilization because of the nature of the operation and the way the families, it's mostly families come together, and so they use less parking. But in any event, we more than comply with the town requirement for the use of the auditorium. What's critical with some point with a facility like this is that the auditorium, when it's in operation for the church services or for other uses, the catering hall would not be used. It's also likely that the other facilities would not be used. The retail might be, depending on the time of day, but this site is really, the building is really designed as mixed uses, which would not be operating together. So we believe that the parking that we provide is more than sufficient. And in addition to that, we have at least 50 additional spaces on North Research Place, not on the curve, and also on Creative Drive, also not on the curve, that could be utilized for overflow parking if it was ever required. So the application complies with all of the setback requirements and height requirements and FAR requirements of the PDD district, PDD-RS district. We also require a landscape variance as part of this. I'm going to show you a rendering that we've we're sort of working on the renderings with planning now. This would be a rendering from sort of the rear of the building, and we're showing brick along the bottom. You see a prominent brick base, and this rendering would be facing the target parking lot. The building has been flipped at the suggestion of an esteemed member of the town, so that the stores are now aligned next to, they're not here, the building's flipped, so the stores are closer to the, I guess it's the Home Depot store. But the rendering was done a while ago. So that's the basic application. I'd like to, if you would, invite Pastor Steve to address the board about the mission of the church. Can you do that? I think he's on.
Yeah,
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
we can.
This is Pastor Stephen Mangum. First, I want to thank Guy for his words of instruction. Also, the town board, I celebrate you. Thank you for hearing our proposal. We've been doing ministry for families for close to 20 years. March 2021 will be 20 years that we've been developing men, women, and children spiritually, socially, and economically. The facility that we're presenting gives us the ability to do it at a greater scale. The assembly space that Guy Germano mentioned is not just for church. It also could be used, just say Friday night, for theater, for inspirational concerts, especially in times like this, like a pandemic, where families need to be uplifted and encouraged. The basketball court is another part of the building that could help children get away from the negative parts of Central Islip, from gang violence, from drug abuse, from suicide. But now they have a purposeful place where they could be mentored, trained, and developed, not just in the sport of basketball, but also in the science. The meeting rooms that we have established. We have social workers and licensed mental health professionals that are able to service families that's going through trauma, going through economic loss, but also those office rooms are able to develop families economically, to teach them how to budget, how to save, how to invest. The retail storefronts is a means of showing the community how to build business ownership and offer jobs. Our young people are graduating from Suffolk, some Stony Brook, Suffolk County Community College, St. Joseph's. We want them to stay here with jobs and businesses. We want to keep their feet in Suffolk County. We want them to plant their flag in Suffolk County. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to do something amazing in Central Islip. We are not a problem. We are a solution to what's happening in Central Islip. I'm Stephen Mangum, the senior pastor of the House of Judah and the CEO. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Obviously, you are very passionate about your mission.
Yes, I am.
Guy, do you want to continue, please?
Well, that really, with the pastor's comments about the mission, that really concludes our application. The planning board has approved it after we worked with them and the planning department on the parking questions, and now we are working a little bit more with the architectural elements with the planning department. And we have the CNRs, and we agree with the CNRs that have been proposed.
Guy, you mentioned the catering hall. What is the planned occupancy of that? How many seats?
It's been reduced to 144.
Okay. Does anyone from the board have any questions before we go to the department?
No.
Okay.
I have a question, Madam Supervisor.
Certainly, Councilman O'Connor.
Mr. Germano, you mentioned in your presentation that the church outgrew its space. I think you said perhaps in West Sayville, and that's what really kind of facilitated the move. And at the same time, we're talking about some parking relaxations. So it's of concern that the ministry is growing, and yet we're moving to a site that has inadequate parking. I just want to make sure the applicant is aware of the covenant and restriction number 10 as it relates to parking, specifically the portion where the town can notify the applicant, and the applicant has 30 days to respond if there are substantiated parking complaints.
Yes, Reverend, we have reviewed the CNRs. We've had them for several weeks, several months. But Councilman O'Connor, in terms of the operation, the church on Atlantic Avenue, West Sayville, has a maximum capacity of 300, and the new auditorium church has a capacity of 460. So they've built in an expansion into this. They are been operating at around capacity for a while now at Atlantic Avenue. The other benefit, but that's only part of what this is about, and I think the pastor has explained in detail in the passion that this new facility allows the church to address and fulfill its mission for its members and for the people of Central Islip. With regard to the parking, our parking study shows that, and also the town requirement. The town requirement is that we have one stall for every 4 seats. We have 115 stalls on the site, plus three additional land bank stalls. So if the facility was full, we would have enough parking on site for the church. And the church being what it is, the likelihood of it, it's a Sunday, there won't be any other uses. The hall won't be in use, the gym won't be in use, and the office, to the extent it's being used, it's going to be used by people who are attending the church. So we see the church use as the primary, if it's full, when it's full, we would need close to 115 stalls. Although our study of actual utilization would show somewhat less required because of the nature of the church and the number of people who come together as families in a single vehicle. But yes, we understand. And we've been working on the parking for several months now.
And I guess just to really sum it up, there's no objection, and the applicant intends to sign the covenants and restrictions as presented, including covenant restriction number 10. Yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
One other thing I just wanted to put on the record, the fact that this is different from a traditional church use in that you're incorporating a catering hall and a retail component, the taxable structure would differ from what a church normally would, just so that we all understand that going forward. Okay, I see you nodding your head, Pastor. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any other questions from the board of the applicant? Then let us go to the department. Jessica, is there anything you needed to add?
I won't reiterate what has already been said. If there are any specific questions about the parking study, I would be happy to answer them. The planning board did review and recommended approval.
Thank you. Any questions for the department?
No.
Okay, I know that there were a number of people who wanted to witness the proceedings, but are there any speakers on the hearing, Mary? Mary, unmute yourself, please.
Reminder, thank you. I'd say there's at least 30 people here that I'm sure just wanted to support the application. Pastor, I don't need to move them into the panel to do so, do I?
Just one, Andre Murphy.
Here he is, here he comes.
Okay.
I think he just wrote, "We're very excited."
That's Francis Pierre.
Yeah, that was Fran Pierre.
Here's Andre.
Andre, so Andre, if you're speaking on the hearing, officially you have 3 minutes which to do so.
Okay, hi. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I've been working in the Central Islip High School for 25 years. And I just want to say that this project by, Pastor Steve and First Lady Selena Mangum is something that is going to be very beneficial to the community. I know they have programming in the high school, for adults, but I know they're running out of space, and the additional meeting space that will be available at the facility is needed. But I also want to speak about the young people in the high school. There's some programming that they're talking about, at the new facility, and then you have the gym that's going in. And I know there's a lot of, at 2 o'clock when the bell rings, young people are just walking around the building with no place to go. They don't want to go home. They're not on teams. And a lot of the programming is for people who are on teams. So just using the gym, for example, you can't get into a gym unless you're on a team. Well, a way to get some of these kids, off the streets, out of the building just wandering aimlessly, allow them to go down to the gym and, get some exercise, play basketball. Maybe a meeting room is going to be available where they'll have some computers that they can use to do some extra help, have some mentors there that they can talk to. So I just know that this is something, based on my 25 years, this is something that that the kids could really use, that the community could really use. And I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next in Central Islip. Thank you for giving me this time.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. I'm sure that the pastor and the congregation appreciate your support. Are there any other questions? There's no other speakers, correct, Mary? Okay. Then are there any other questions or comments from the board for the applicant or the department? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, accept the negative declaration, and approve this application.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and members of the board. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Night.
Good night. Okay, our third application tonight is CZ 2016-046, Rover 2014 LLC. I'd ask the town clerk, Olga Murray, to please read the hearing notice.
Thank you. Notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of Islip will hold a public hearing on Thursday, August 13th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom webinar and will be streamed live over the internet on the application of Rover 2014 LLC TC number 5349. Applicant seeks a modification of deed covenants and restrictions associated with TC 3674 in order to use the property as a lodging house instead of a hotel. Site plan modifications are required as part of this application. The environmental impacts will also be assessed on this property located in the Brentwood School District and located on the east side of Crooked Hill Road, approximately 2,000 feet south of Route 495, Brentwood, 801 Crooked Hill Road, Town of Islip, Suffolk County, New York. Hosted, Islip Town Board, Olga Murray, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Olga. Is the applicant ready to make a presentation?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, Supervisor Carpenter, members of the town board. My name is Keith Brown, Brown and Altman, LLP, located at 538 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 301, Melville, New York, 11747. Thank you for the opportunity to make this presentation on behalf of Rover 2014 LLC in connection with their application to amend the covenants restrictions on the property from a hotel use to a lodging house use. As a matter of housekeeping, all mailings and postings were performed timely as required under the town code. On Tuesday, August 11th of 2020, our office filed the affidavit of notification and posting, receipts and green cards for certified mailings to the town clerk's office. We've submitted them and a copy of the town stamped affidavits for your records. By way of background, Rover 2014 first appeared before the planning board on the application on January 25th of 2017, and the board reserved decision. Most recently, on July 15th of this year, Rover 2014 appeared before the town planning board again for a decision on the application. The town planning board unanimously granted the application under CZ-2016-046, pending the town board's approval of the amended CNRs associated with TC 3674. We've reviewed the conditions of approval provided by the town planning department, and we received a phone call today from the town planning department and the town attorney's office with respect to one change to the covenants, which was the insertion of the language that in the event that the current lease agreement between Rover 2014 LLC and the Family Service League, Inc. expires, lapses, or is terminated for any reason, then these covenants restrictions will be deemed null and void, and TC number 3674 shall govern, subject to any extensions, amendments, or assignments of the current lease agreement. So with that modification, we have no objections to the proposed conditions of approval, and we'll work with the town planning staff to finalize those conditions. By way of background, just a little brief overview about the Family Service League, who is the operator of the facility. They are the sole tenant of the property, and they took over from the Long Island Women's Empowerment Network in March of 2016. And since that time, they've worked diligently to present and correct any of the issues created by the Long Island Women's Empowerment Network. As you may know, the Family Service League has a nearly 90-year history of providing a safety net for disadvantaged people on Long Island. Their mission is to help individuals, children, and families to mobilize their strengths and improve the quality of their lives at home, in the workplace, and in the community. Family Service League operates approximately 22 facilities offering the services across Long Island. The current census of the facility is 317 individuals, consisting of 87 families of 109 adults and 208 children. 141 of the children are of school age, with 50% enrolled in the Brentwood School District and 18% enrolled within other school districts in the township of Islip. This facility allows the Family Service League to do God's work, to better care for and help its adult clients build a better life for themselves and ultimately become self-sufficient. At the same time, Family Service League provides necessary care, education, and after-school needs to the children of its adult clients to better assist them with the goal of lifting their entire family out of poverty. Now, from a zoning perspective, the site is uniquely situated to allow the Family Service League to do what it does best, to help disadvantaged Long Island families. The former Wingate Inn is a 5-story building that is in very good condition, has good site circulation, and ample parking for the use. The site is ideally located in that surrounding properties are not an impediment to the use. As such, the property is remote and private, and there is little to no risk of disturbing any residents. The residents of the facility are also a boon to local businesses, shopping at the stores in the Comac South Shopping Center and other local businesses by utilizing Family Service League's reliable and efficient transportation. Indeed, this facility allows Family Service League to take advantage of economies of scale that would not be possible if each family was living elsewhere on their own in a single-family home. Were Family Service League not able to use the facility for these services, each family would have to be provided transportation from the facility to the location of the service for each and every service and for each individual child. The same would add unnecessary costs and result in more vehicle traffic on the roads and air pollution. Instead, Family Service League provides all of the services under one roof at tremendous cost savings to the taxpayer and with greater efficiency to its clients. As described in our June 15th correspondence to the Town Planning Department, with the modification of the CNRs and the site improvements, the Family Service League can do more by applying for a Tier 2 certification from New York State and provide on-site meals. In addition to the extensive shuttle program used by Family Service League, the in-house program will reduce foot and vehicular traffic on neighboring roads, including Crooked Hill Road, and will continue Family Service League's one-roof approach of providing services. So With that said, to the extent the board has any questions, we have on the call with me today in support of the application, Mr. Robert Creighton, Esquire, Chairman of the Family Service League's Board of Directors. Next, we have Karen Borstein, the CEO and President of the Family Service League. Next, we have Valerie Chamberlain, Assistant Vice President of the Family Service League. And finally, Mr. Ken Geringer of H2M Architects and Engineers, the design professionals for this application, to answer any technical questions that the board may have.
Okay,
That concludes my presentation.
thank you, Mr. Brown. Does anyone on the board have any questions? I am interested, could you please tell me what the length of the term of the lease is that you have with Rover 2014?
I don't know the exact term, so I'd defer to Karen Borstein for that.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Supervisor Carpenter. The lease is multiple year renewals. It's a 10-year lease with multiple renewals up to 21 years.
So you're in year what of your 10-year lease?
Year 4.
In the analysis from the department, well, I think I'm going to wait for the department. I have a lot of concerns about the traffic along Crooked Hill Road, and I know that the department cited that also. It was one of the main concerns that Crooked Hill Road is very industrial in nature. It doesn't have adequate sidewalks for pedestrian use. And I, for one, would feel more comfortable seeing this go forward if we had some sort of guarantee from the occupants that you will be installing sidewalks along Crooked Hill Road. Because many of
Sure, I could.
With the number of kids there and strollers and what have you, it's an accident waiting to happen because I have seen it personally.
Sure. So before I have Ms. Borstein go into detail, I will tell you, Madam Supervisor, that we've agreed to install sidewalks along our frontage of the hotel, and there are plans by Suffolk County Department of Public Works to extend the sidewalks. It's all part of they're changing the on-ramp and off-ramp for Crooked Hill Road in that vicinity, and part of that whole project will be improvements to sidewalks, which would run the length all the way to the shopping center to the north. But that being said, Family Service League does provide shuttle service to and from that shopping center, as well as to other trips that are necessary for the residents. So Karen, do you want to add to that?
You know, Keith, you described it accurately. I mean, that's what we do. We, have multiple times throughout the day to, transport any family, any individual that needs to go anywhere. We do not encourage them to walk, but we realize, the issue with the sidewalk, and we agree, and we absolutely will install those sidewalks on both sides of the driveway.
But I'm concerned about the length of it, because coming from there down to where there's Starbucks, there's Costco, Target, Walmart, and as you said in your presentation, that they're going to be a boon to the businesses. So you're anticipating that people are going to go and use the local businesses.
Yeah.
And, shuttle service is great, but shuttle service is shuttle service. You're not going to have a series of vans or buses. It's going
But we do.
Yeah, actually, I'm Valerie Chamberlain, the Assistant Vice President for Family Service League. Good evening, Supervisor Carpenter and members of the town board. I just want to elaborate a little bit more on our transportation services. So we're able to provide transportation to the residents between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. Specifically from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. We employ a full-time driver whose only responsibility is to transport clients. From 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week, we also employ 9 client advocates who are authorized to operate Family Service League vehicles. We have 2 large vans and a car that we utilize specifically for this program. We provide transportation to various locations: supermarkets, laundromats, Department of Social Services, urgent care centers, housing appointments, and basically any other location as needed. Between 10 to 15 families utilize the services daily. The services are very flexible. We encouraged advanced signups for transportation, but can also accommodate last-minute requests. This model allows residents the flexibility to obtain rides based on their individual schedules. Through these measures, we have successfully been able to limit the number of residents walking along Crooked Hill Road. If we see a family signing out of the facility and we know they don't have their own transportation, we'll ask them, hey, where are you going? You know, let us give you a ride. We really do our best to stay on top of it.
Okay, and I appreciate all of that. And as you said, you can limit it, but you're not going to eliminate it. Are there any other questions from the board at this point?
No.
Okay, then let us go to the department.
Thank you. This application, as discussed, involves a modification of covenants. Currently, the covenants limit the use to a hotel. The current use is a lodging house. This approval, as discussed, would allow Family Service League to provide more on-site services, which we do feel is beneficial to the use. The sidewalk issue at this point can only be solved along the front of the subject property. The rest of Crooked Hill Road is in the works by Suffolk County they have plans to put in sidewalks, but we don't know the date of that. We did include the requirement for the shuttle service in the covenants and restrictions. So that's included in there because we do have concerns about the residents walking. If the board would be more comfortable with specifics, in terms of what Family Service League is doing for that shuttle, we would be happy to include those in the covenants. The planning board did recommend approval of this application.
Are there any questions for the department? Okay. Again, I would want to see the actual plans for the sidewalks, both from Family Service League, and if you're saying that the county is moving forward, from what I understand, that Crooked Hill Road project is years off. So that, in my mind, would not suffice. If there's an opportunity for the county to commit to putting those sidewalks in as yours are being done, that kind of would make more sense, and certainly, would be a lot safer. I mean, part of our responsibilities is to, assess any negative impacts from any change of zones that we're putting forward. So that really is a concern. But I am pleased to hear that we're going to be working on adjusting the covenants so that if this is successful and the change of use does go forward, that if there is a change in the tenancy or the ownership, it would revert back to the original zoning.
Yes, and as I said, we have no objection to that. And I was just looking at the conditions of approval to see, and we'll work with planning staff to insert the language relative to the shuttle service that we currently provide.
All right. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Carpenter, I have a question. Jessica, John Cochran. I have a question.
Yeah.
Who do you want me to go, Jessica? Is there any, with the sidewalk, I'm very concerned as a councilman, we're supposed to make sure the public safety is, number one, or fiscal responsibility, we get that. But I go up and down there all the time and there's not 100% people getting shuttled. And when we don't have sidewalks, my other concern is there's no lighting under that 495. It is dark in the middle of the day. Is there any work with the Suffolk County to put lights under there and a sidewalk? Jessica, can you answer that one?
I can't answer the lighting question. I know Suffolk County has the plans drawn up to install the sidewalks, but again, I do not know when they will be installing them. I can check on the lighting. I could ask if that's part of the project, but I don't know that answer.
Councilman, I'm going to suggest that we table this until next month. They're going to be working on the covenants about the change of zone reverting back if there is that change of tenancy or ownership, and certainly the sidewalk issue and these other issues you raised about the safety of the lighting in that area of the overpass, we'll have time to address all of those.
Thank you, Supervisor. I agree with that.
I have a
Okay.
question.
Certainly, Councilwoman.
It's probably best answered by Karen. Karen Borstein, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
If this isn't approved tonight, is time of the essence for you folks, or like what happens to the people at the facility if this gets delayed?
Well, one is we will not be able to attain the Tier 2 certification, and there may be a time frame with that, but I'll ask Val on that question. And the other is that, we want to make sure we're in compliance with, attaining all the permits to all the changes. And without the change in covenants and restrictions, we can't complete those final punch lists of things, of items. And this is the only thing that's holding us up, making those changes, including the sidewalk, things of that nature. So it really will delay us and create a hardship, but the clients will be there, but we just will, again, be delayed in getting hot food in there to give them the proper nourishment.
And
So
how
you
long have
probably
you
are
been
seeing
there?
more people using the sidewalks now because they can't get hot meals, as opposed to if we.
Well,
That's
as Val,
that's correct, Councilwoman.
Yes, but as Val said, though, we really do have almost round the clock shuttle service. She gave you those hours, and we really deter them from walking. They're free to walk. This is not a locked facility, but we please know that that is something that we want to do as well. And that's why we've hired the drivers. That's why the advocates are there doing this work as well, to really not, encourage anyone to walk on Crooked Hill Road.
Right.
And so I just want to add something else. Because we're not Tier 2 certified, we currently aren't permitted to serve the food at the facility. But with the town board's approval of this application, we'll be able to complete the Tier 2 certification process and provide meals on site. And therefore, that would reduce the need for the families to go to restaurants or food markets. So this would actually reduce the foot traffic in the area, I think, significantly.
Yeah, well, again,
To the extent that there is any, yes, I agree with that. And I would just, as far as the sidewalk, the lighting, and the other improvements, those are all off-site, and we don't have any control of them. So we've agreed and represented that we will take care of the items that we do control, which is the sidewalk in front and the other improvements that we're trying to make to help improve the functionality of the facility and make it even more safe than it is now. So, as far as working with the planning department, we're happy to work with staff. We've provided additional information, but I don't really see a need to postpone the decision when we've agreed to the language that the law department and the planning department have offered, and we're willing to include the representations that Ms. Chamberlain made relative to the shuttle service. We could add that right to the conditions.
well, I can appreciate that, but again, Mr. Brown, there are a lot of legal terminology that I know that our town attorney's office is going to feel a little bit more comfortable having the time to review it all. And again, the issue with the sidewalk, you're making a commitment that you're doing it, but we do not know what the time frame is from the county. And this is not something that just popped up this month. This has been going on for an awful long time. And for the sake of 1 month, I'm not going to risk public safety and rush this through tonight. So I'm going to make a motion.
Madam Supervisor, before you make a motion,
Certainly.
can I ask two procedural questions if I could?
Certainly. Mhm.
Mary, has anybody from the public signed up to speak?
No.
Okay, would it be okay with the town attorney if we closed the public hearing and adjourned it for decision until next month so that we could work on the language? And I asked that of Mr. Walsh. Is it appropriate? Is it procedurally appropriate to close the public hearing and put it on for a decision item for next month?
Mike, could you unmute yourself?
Sorry about that. Yep, I was trying to find the mute button. Assuming we haven't had an opportunity to take a look at all the verbiage that's being suggested in the covenants and restrictions, I feel more comfortable with this getting adjourned. Having said that, I think procedurally you can close the meeting and adjourn it for a decision.
Close the hearing. All right, so that certainly helps fast track the process by closing the public hearing. So
We would be amenable to that.
okay, great. Thank you. So I'll make the motion to close the public hearing and adjourn the decision item to the next meeting or whenever everything gets resolved. And we have to have that negative declaration, Mike?
Yes.
Thank you, Michael. So we have that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, the public hearing is closed and the item has been adjourned. Thank you.
Madam Supervisor, could I just ask for a point of order? We
Certainly.
would not have to, since it's just being adjourned for a decision, we would not have to send out any mailings or postings, correct?
We'll have, the town clerk is shaking her head no. Town attorney is
No.
agreeing. Okay.
Great,
Okay.
great, wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, the next item on the agenda. We have CZ2 2019-017 Three River Boys. I'd ask the town clerk to please read the hearing notice.
PC 5350 Three River Boys LLC. Notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of Islip will hold a public hearing on Thursday, August 13, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom webinar and will be streamed live over the internet on the application of Three River Boys LLC. Applicant requests a change of zone from Residence B to General Service T in order to utilize an existing single-family dwelling for an office use. Site plan modifications may be requested as part of this application. The environmental impacts will also be assessed on this property located in the Sayville School District on the west side of Lakeland Avenue, County Route 93, also known as 140 Lakeland Avenue, approximately 130 feet south of Tariff Street, Town of Islip, Suffolk County, New York. Posted Town Board, Islip, and Olga Murray, Town Clerk.
Thank you. The applicant is ready to make a brief overview of the application.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. Appearing on behalf of the applicant, Eugene L. DiNicola, 200 Railroad Avenue, Sayville, New York. I will be as brief as I possibly can. The applicant is seeking a change of zone for the subject premises from Residence B District to General Service T District to utilize the existing structure for an office use. The subject parcel is located on the west side of Lakeland Avenue, 130 feet south of Tariff Street, Sayville. Adjoining the subject premises on the north is a gasoline service station with service bays. It is in the business-free zoning district. If you proceeded north across Tariff Street at the northwest corner of Lakeland Avenue and Tariff Street, there is a small neighborhood shopping center consisting of 3 stores, which are closed. They had a fire and they're in the process of renovation. It was a pizzeria, a card and flower store, and a delicatessen. Next to that shopping center is Frank's Auto Repair. Now, across Lakeland Avenue, directly from the subject site, is a Bristol assisted living facility. To the south and west are generally single-family dwellings. Now Lakeland Avenue runs in a north-south direction and is a main feeder road to the Sayville Business District. Lakeland Avenue has a mix of uses fronting on it, including business, multifamily apartments, and single-family residences. The subject parcel itself is a through lot from Lakeland Avenue to on the east to Greeley Avenue on the west. It contains 32,531 square feet of plot area, has a frontage on Lakeland Avenue of 173 plus feet, and a frontage on Greeley Avenue of 167 plus feet. The subject parcel and the abutting gasoline filling station are the only two parcels which are through lots between Lakeland Avenue and Greeley Avenue. The subject parcel contains a 2-story and 1-story frame residence and a detached garage. The structures have existed thereon since approximately 1930. The subject site has a curb cut on Lakeland Avenue with an access drive to the rear of the building where the detached garage is located and parking stalls. The access drive is one way to the rear of the property with egress on Greeley Avenue. Greeley Avenue ends approximately 130 feet north at Tariff Street. Then you go east or west. A 25-foot planted buffer will be installed by the applicant along the south side of the property, adjacent to 2 single-family dwellings, one which fronts on Greeley, one which fronts on Lakeland Avenue. There'll be a slight reduction, however, where the curve of the driveway intrudes into the buffer for a short distance, which will be 5 feet at its maximum at the widest point. It goes from 0 to 5 and back to 0 again. The building has a setback of 43 feet 8 inches from the south lot line. The detached garage is 91 feet 10 inches to the south lot line, again where the residence is. And the parking stall south lot line is 36 feet. All vehicles will enter from Lakeland Avenue and exit at Greeley Avenue. Now, the applicant has erected a wrought iron fence at the curb cut and has 2 pillars with carriage lamps. Did a very nice job. From the curb cut north, there are evergreens which have been planted, completely screening the northerly portion of the site. The floor area ratio of the structure is only 9.3%, and the total landscape area is 67.6%, which includes the buffer, 21,984 square feet. Without the buffer, it's 53.9% or 17,545 square feet. The site maintains a residential appearance and character. The house is in its original condition. Photos of the house have been submitted and should be in the packet with the board. The applicant is using the subject site for a law office. And as we know, law offices are benign, low volume operations and are even permitted as home occupations in residential districts. Law offices do not operate late hours except in rare instances when time constraints require late night research or preparation. And even then, there is no noise except for the turning of pages and the clacking of the computer keyboard. Ingress and egress of vehicles is limited as conferences with clients are generally by the hour. The applicant anticipates the following hours of operation: Monday to Friday between 8 and 5 or 6 p.m. And Saturdays only on rare occasions. The General Service T District is perfect for the intended zoning, and the site is what the GSTA zone was actually intended to address. A once residential roadway, that was Lakeland Avenue, has become a main feeder road and a well-trafficked road to the Sayville Business District. A once quiet roadway now has substantial volumes of traffic and changing use characteristics. Instead of a change of zone to a business district, which would change the streetscape from a more scenic one with front lawns and vegetation, as is the subject site, to parking areas and paving. The GST zone was enacted in 1989 to permit adaptable reuse of residential dwellings to a business or office use and maintain the residential appearance and streetscape. The site is large, containing 3/4 of an acre, adjacent to a gasoline filling station and across from a multi-story assisted living facility. It will maintain all of its residential characteristics and appearances and be occupied as a basically quiet office use. The applicant maintains the site impeccably. The proposed readaptive use of the subject premises from a residential dwelling to an office use will retain the present visual quality of this Gateway Road to the Sable Business District. The architecture and streetscape will be maintained if this change of zone is approved by the town board. The planning board, by resolution dated May 6, 2020, unanimously recommended grant to the town board for change of zone from the Residence B district to the General Service T district. Deed covenants and restrictions have been signed by the applicant on May 7th and submitted to the planning staff. At this time, Madam Supervisor, members of the board, I respectfully request that the town board approve this change of zone request. And if there are any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them. I
Thank you,
also have
Counselor.
Mr. James German available. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant? Hearing none, let's hear from the department.
Thank you. Again, this is a change of zone from Residence B to General Service T district. That's our transitional district. It is an appropriate use or location for that zoning district, being that there's Business 3 to the north and Residence B to the south. The Traffic Safety Division recommended that access to Greeley be permitted to allow for vehicles to exit the site and access the light at Tariff Street on Lakeland Avenue. The planning board did recommend approval of this application.
Thank you, Jessica. Mary, has anyone signed up to speak on this?
No, nobody has signed up.
Okay, are there any other questions for the applicant or the department? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to close the hearing, accept the negative deck, and approve the change of zone.
Thank you. Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
Thank you,
Okay.
Madam Supervisor. Thank you, members
Very
of the
well.
board.
Let us now go to the last application, which is CZ 2020-014, Saxon Realty LLC. Madam Clerk, if you would please read the hearing notice.
PC 5351 Saxon Sunrise Realty LLC. Notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of Islip will hold a public hearing on Thursday, August 13th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom webinar and will be streamed live over the internet on the application of Saxon Sunrise Realty LLC. Applicant requests a change of zone from Business 1 to Business 3, a planning board special permit for a vehicle repair use pursuant to section 68-302.1C and a modification of covenants and restrictions associated with TC 4546 in order to leave an existing vehicle repair use. A minor subdivision is also requested as part of this application. The environmental impacts will also be assessed on this property located in the Islip School District on the south side of Sunrise Highway Service Road, approximately 135 feet east of Saxon Avenue, Bayshore, 2036 Sunrise Highway, Town of Islip, Suffolk County, New York. Posted Islip Town Board, Olga Murray, Town Clerk.
Olga, could you please read that hearing notice again?
Okay. How about I skip the business about it being on Zoom and we just go from applicant requests to change?
No, I just want the number, because the number I had down, I think, is different from what you said.
Which number, Supervisor?
The CZ 2020-014. I thought I heard you say something different.
TC 4546.
Okay, I just want to make sure that one of us, I said one, you're saying something else, whichever it is, make sure the record is correct.
Okay, I will double check that with planning.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the applicant, Mr. DiNicola, this is something that's existed for many years, correct?
This situation has existed for many years, Madam Supervisor. The applicant is the Firestone tire and auto repair operation has existed on the site since approximately 1973, when the shopping center was CO'd. There's 177,000 square feet of plus of retail use. It's the Kohl's Plaza, as the board may be aware. And when the Chili's restaurant was approved in about, I'm saying 2003 or in 2000, around there. I have it in my presentation here. They changed the zone of the entire shopping center to Business 1, which made the Firestone tire operation and repair operation an illegal use or non-conforming use. And in the covenant restriction, there was a requirement that the Firestone operation had to cease and terminate at the end of its lease. The applicant is now requesting that the Firestone tire and auto repair operation remain, carve out an area of that shopping center for Business 3 use, a Business 3 zone, to permit the Firestone operation to continue, and leave the balance of the shopping center as Business 1. So again, the Business 1 would remain on a majority of the shopping center, and the Business 3 would only be for the Firestone tire operation, which would have access to the South Service Road of Sunrise Highway. So the minor subdivision is to break out the Firestone operation, which is approximately 0.85 acres, and leave the balance of the shopping center, which will be a little over 18 acres, 18.16 acres, something like that, for the retail operation Business 1. The Firestone operation would have approximately 54 parking spaces. The balance of the shopping center would have 991 parking spaces. I think 1,045 are required, but there would be more than adequate parking for the balance of the shopping center. And right now, they are integrated, and there's not going to be any change. The sole purpose of this change of zone to Business 3 and the minor subdivision is to permit the Firestone tire and auto repair operation to remain. It has been integrated with the shopping center since 1973. There are absolutely no adverse impacts or effects. The parking, the shopping center has more than adequate parking. They've never had a parking problem. And if the total shopping center, including the Firestone operation, is 19.16 acres. So the planning board has recommended approval of this change of zone, which is the jurisdiction of the town board, as well as the modification of the previously imposed covenant restriction requiring the Firestone operation to terminate at the end of its lease. There will be absolutely no disturbance of the shopping center, no change, nothing, everything stays the same. I would respectfully request that this board grant the change of zone and the modification of the previously imposed covenant restriction, which would permit the Firestone tire and auto repair operation to continue. The planning board has, as far as I can determine, approved the auto repair use as a special permit from the town board, and the minor subdivision of the property between the Firestone operation and the bounds of the shopping center.
Thank you, Counselor. Could we now hear from the department?
I'll be very brief. This would be a change of zone from Business 1 to Business 3 only for the Firestone newly created parcel. Nothing else in the shopping center would change. It is an appropriate use for Sunrise Highway, and it works well in the shopping center. And the planning board did recommend approval.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the department? Has anyone signed up to speak on this, Mary?
No, there is one person left in the attendee panel who said he wanted to speak tonight, but then he didn't say what application he wanted to speak on. So I've just promoted him to panelist if he's still with us.
Point, this would really be the only application you could.
It would be the only one left. So Mr. Moore, if you can hear us, if you're still with us and you want to speak. You can speak now. I think he's probably left and he just left his name in the attendee panel.
Okay, not a problem. All right, any other questions for the applicant, the department? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. I don't see Councilwoman Bergen.
Make a motion to close the public hearing, issue a negative declaration, and approve the application.
Okay.
Second.
And Councilwoman Bergen, oh, you're in your car. That's why I didn't see you. Okay, so we
Second.
have a motion by Councilman O'Connor and a second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The application is approved.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. Have a good evening and stay safe.
Thank you. Since there is no other business to come before us, I'll make a motion to close. Second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? The hearing is closed. Thank you very much.